I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with a 3-minute cattle market update for Friday, November the 18th, brought to you in part by the International Brangus Breeders Association. Maternal excellence is one of the many qualities that Brangus cattle exhibit. Brangus females offer stayability, longevity, calving ease, shorter gestation, early breed back, and they milk enough but not to excess. Maybe it's time for you to go Brangus. For more information or to find a breeder near you, visit gobrangus.com. Well, we had a big Wednesday there. The fat cattle trade really jumped out there and was big. We knew we had the ability to get that, but after having that late Friday trade that was pretty sizable in itself, was really wondering whether they could get as big a bite into the market as they got this week, and another big movement as these packers try to sew up the cattle that they need for the rest of the year. But also feeder cattle had a big Wednesday too. Your auctions were big on Wednesday and gained a lot of ground there, but really a great week here right ahead of the holiday week. But you look at your board, live cattle futures December contract Wednesday was up 272, and it started out just kind of in doldrums like it'd been all week. But then after you saw that fat cattle trade jump up there, it really took off. Thursday was up just 2 cents, so back to the way it was early in the week, but ended the day on Thursday at 108.22, which is real close to what the cash market is. Feeder cattle January contract Wednesday was up 230. Thursday was down 40 cents to end the day on Thursday at 124.92. November spot markets at 126.97. But there has been support for these out front feeder contracts. So we continue to see a little bit of support on them. Most of those out front for spring and beyond are in the 20s now, and they were down in there closer to 115. So maybe we can keep these cattle up a little bit, and that has given these guys buying calves a little bit of confidence to go out there and buy calves. But these guys down here in the southern plains are just blowing their brains out on these light calves because this wheat is just driving them crazy. The wheat is rank out there. Even though we haven't had any moisture at all for the last couple of weeks, we did have that one weekend there where a lot of places got some good moisture, and it was right when they needed it. And you know, basically you can grow wheat in a parking lot if you have to, but you got to have a little bit of moisture, and you got to have it at the right times, and that's what happened that one weekend that we saw that moisture, and man, the wheat just looks great. But your fat cattle trade broke out on Wednesday morning there, and it was shocking, and the only reason that everybody didn't get the top of the market is because they just couldn't keep up with it fast enough. They couldn't ask enough because the packers really jumped out there and showed a lot of interest, which is rare to show a lot of interest for negotiated cash sales there, and that early in the week, but on a Wednesday morning there. But you know, it started out 107, but quickly went to 109 and even up to 110 in the northern plains. But it was mostly $3 to $5 higher, a lot of 3 higher. The weighted average is going to be mostly $3 higher. But from 107 all the way up to 110, a lot of sales at 108, and that was your main price in the southern feedlot areas. But your northern feedlot areas saw a lot more of that 109 and 110. And finally, we're seeing these packers paying a little bonus for the higher quality grading cattle, because we're getting to the time of the year, once we get past Thanksgiving, we get into those holiday parties and Christmas parties. It's gotten to kind of be accustomed to prepare one of those ribeye logs for a big number of people there, and cut up the prime ribs there, and instead of, people get sick of turkey all the time during the Thanksgiving holidays, but they still want to treat their guests. So that's a big push, and then they need that higher quality graded meat there for that. And your dress sales were $6 to $8 higher there, from 165 all the way to 173, but a whole lot of 170, and that's really great. But that was even before we saw the Thursday actual carcass weights come out, and we saw a big drop in those actual steer carcass weights it's a 2-week delay on that, so they know exactly what they weighed. But it dropped from 917 down to 913, which is a 4-pound drop, and that makes us think that maybe we have topped out on those actual steer carcass weights, and now we're going to start getting lower, which means that we're cutting into these big heavy cattle that we've got out there, and these feedlots are getting more current all the time, and tighter market ready supplies means a strong market for these cattle feeders to take advantage of. Slaughter so far for the week, 461,000 through Thursday. That's 4,000 more than the same time last week and 26,000 more than the same week a year ago. But your CME cash feeder cattle index is sitting at 126.44 here late on Thursday, and that's really for the day before. Real-time index through the bulk of Thursday's sales was up 40 cents for the day at 124.95, and you wonder why it's running about $1.50 behind the CME feeder cattle index. Figured the same way in the same areas, but your RTI through Cattle Market Central gets a higher percentage of their quotes through the middle part of the country and in your southern plains, but in the Kansas areas and Missouri and places like that, where this time of year your CME feeder cattle index is totally dominated by Nebraska and the Dakotas, and it's a little overinflated because of that right now. But in cash markets on Wednesday, El Reno, Oklahoma, around 11,000 head there. And OKC West, and they had feeders from steady to $4 higher, calves $4 to $10 higher, again because of that wheat pasture demand, and they're wanting those cattle that are weaned and worked and ready to turn out, and they can really almost name your price for that. Not like you could 2 or 3 years ago, but it's a whole lot better than it's been for the last few months. You look at Cattle Market Central there on the market there on Thursday in Salina, Kansas. Their feeders selling from steady to $5 higher, and calves $3 to $10 higher there. But the thing that I thought was interesting, and you won't see this information this quick, you have to wait till late Friday morning to get Salina's information anywhere else. But what I thought was interesting is look at your 8 and 9 weight steers there, both averaging over $1.30, while your 6 and 7 weights are in the 127s there. So a lot of these feeders are thinking that they can still push, and they're going to have great gains out of those cattle in this kind of fall weather, and they're hoping to get those cattle in as quick as they can before they see that big sell-off in the board next spring. But maybe not get them completely done by then, but maybe they can get them contracted and get them scheduled. But so it's a better demand for those big yearling feeders, and in those 6 and 7 weight steers, you're also getting some big calves in there, which is pulling down on your weighted average. But that's 3 minutes, and we'll talk to you next week.